que nous, on pourrait avoir des casques.
Okay. Welcome everyone. Sorry for the slight delay. I'm in one of my other lives. I'm also an academic, so I'm used to starting everything 15 minutes late. Sorry about that. Today we have a panel about startups and startup growth. We have four wonderful entrepreneurs that will introduce themselves really soon. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Roald Siberat. I used to be a board member at Odoo for 10 years. So Odoo is a company that I know very well, that I've met when they were 20 people at the original farm. You know, it started in a farm, so I can tell you stories about that, and I've seen the growth until, let's say, 1,000 people. Now it's grown even further after I introduced my fund, No Shack, to invest 10 million in 2019. I'm part entrepreneur. Now I moved to the dark side of investing into startups. So if you have a startup, if you have a bright and promising startup, come and talk to me. If you are here, you're probably interested in the subject. Let me have a show of hand. Who here has their own startup or thinking about building one? Okay. People who are not yet launched but are thinking about it, or potentially, yeah, a few people. So quite a few of you already have jumped the gun and started. So you will probably find a lot of valuable experience from our panel of entrepreneurs. What else can I say? Yeah, now I'm an investor with No Shack and Lean Square, two funds based in Liège. I'm also the chairman of the Agence du Numérique in Wallonia that runs the program Digital Wallonia. And I'm passionate about startups, I'm passionate about entrepreneurs, and I've handpicked those few entrepreneurs. So this is how it's going to go. They will introduce themselves with just 3 slides. It's not going to be a pitch, but just so you understand what their company is about, so you can later know where what story belongs to whom. Then I will divide this mostly in 3 sections, 3 big chapters. One will be from the idea to the first steps of the startups. So this will be mostly about mindset. What does it take to have a good idea, to turn it into a reality, and to what kind of mindset? I think the entrepreneurial mindset is really something that is key in the early stages. A second part will be about, you've got a company now, you've tested your product. How do you organize that? How do you go from a sole founder or a team of 1, 2, 3 co-founders? How do you turn that into a budding business, an SME, with processes, with hiring, with customer service? How do you do about that? And then a third part will be about growth. Obviously, growth is inherent to the startup trip. Odoo is a living testimony of the importance of growth and hyper-growth and long-term sustained growth. So we're going to cover those things. And at the end, you will have time for a Q&A and ask some questions. All right? So I'll try and go in the same order. I think the slides are in the following order. So and also I'm really glad and proud that we have a gender balanced panel today. Indeed, and I see women in the audience, and indeed entrepreneurship and startups and data and AI are fields that are where women can shine. So every time I can, I like to support women in tech, women in STEM, and we have 2 fine examples here. And then we have 2 men in tech, which, you know, but they're fine as well. You will see. So let us start with
It's me,
Valérie.
finally, yes.
So you have 3 slides to introduce a little bit what is your company, Valkuren?
Yeah, so my company Valkuren is a company where we develop big data solutions with data analytics and AI services. And we are focused, of course, in unlocking the power of data for companies, optimizing process, help them to take better decisions, And so we are a small team now, but I will explain a little bit after. One of my key points also is that I would like to have also a diverse team, and that's also important for me, from different culture, for different gender. So that's also one of my key points. That's behind the data there is human, and we need to have different people to model the algorithm. And so just a few words about the timeline of Valkyren. I started as a freelancer end of 2014, doing my networking and cash flow for my company. And then I started to work with some internship and some different contracts, like interns also, but special intern in Belgium. And then I hire them, and then I continue to develop my network, the partnership. We had the chance to be in the AI for EU challenge during COVID times, and so we started also to develop new products. Now we are still growing, and we see that now with the Gen AI, the generative AI also, there is some buzz behind, so we are also working on that field. Just the two domains we are involved mainly is the manufacturing domain and the mobility domain. And we have a specific tool which is RP4PL, where we do prediction for product with root cause analysis. So beyond the consulting part, we have also developed a product. It's not yet built as a SaaS, but we work on it and we customize it for our customers.
All right. Thank you, Valérie. It's not going to be Dimitri. He's waiting, but
he's gonna present
not your
slides.
turn. Now we're going to talk about B12 with Caroline.
So B12 is a service company. That's very important. So we have no product at the minute. What we do is build custom AI solutions for, we say, complex business challenge, because we like complexity. It's a very scientific based company. We have a lot of physicists and mathematicians in the company. And the image you see, because Roald asked me to have an image who shows what we do, which is very difficult in my case, but that's an image made with Midjourney, so it's an AI-generated image which I ask, show people who build AI. Here it came
balls
from.
of AI, balls of data. Okay. A few figures about.
A few numbers. So we have zero IP. We are a pure service company. We build products and projects for our clients, but they keep all the IP, so the intellectual property. Thank you. We're around 40 now. We're 42, I think, since the first of the month. So we've grown quite a lot in the last 12 years. No, B12 was built by 3 PhDs in physics 12 years ago. Who had just an idea that they like to build, to solve analytical problems for businesses, and they saw that they could do something together. They started not in a farm, but in the attic of a castle, where it was very cold, because there's a lot of photos of them when they started with like blankets over them, over the computer to keep the heat of the computer. And then they've grown, and now we're 42 with about 3 or 4 people who take care of the back office. We're very proud that all our clients stayed with us, so we work a lot on our reputation. And I have to finish, so we're multi-sectoral, so we work with real estate agency where we classify the document automatically. We work with the STIP, which is the public tramway in Brussels. We have an algorithm who actually detects whether I forgot the name, but the thing on top is misaligned or not, live with a camera on it. We also do energy production prediction. We have done algorithms around RNA and protein binding. And the last one is we built a chatbot for Wallonair who allows people to chat with the chatbot about the air quality in Wallonia. So we do a panel of different things in different sectors and with different technologies.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for keeping me on track.
Is it? Okay, great. Now we turn back to.
To
Is
the
it going to be
man.
Dimitri? Yes, it's Dimitri. He's always on vacation.
No, that's part of my life indeed. So I'm Dimitri, I'm the founder at Glue. So yeah, I choose that picture because I wanted just to, first of all, present myself a bit. I was born and raised in between, well, born in Belgium, raised in between north of Spain and Greece. So love the cultures. I bet a lot of on that. I'm a happy dad of two. And passionate of cat surf, so that's why, yeah, I'm not on holiday every day, but I'm trying to find the right balance in between my passions, my family, and the business. Yeah, you might wonder why I'm showing you camels and Dubai. Basically, it's part of my life because I spent 5 years in the GCC region in Dubai, working closely on the retail tech industry. So basically, I was in charge of driving traffic in stores and on web through a very specific media, which is the out-of-home advertising industry. So the screens, how through screens, as an alternative from the GAFA, you can basically unlock the power of that media and drive people to those spaces. And basically, yeah, here is just to project a bit. Yeah, just before that, how we built the vision around and how the vision started in the GCC region. Basically, sushi, we're working with retailers, and it was in the Dubai Mall with a sushi shop owner. And the sushi shop owner basically asked us, I have some perishable, and I cannot just start to sell those perishable on Instagram and Facebook. Can I just use those screens here around? And then that's where we realized that it was very hard to basically instantly, like an Instagram post, get the most of those screens. And so from there, we started to work on a platform, how Google and Facebook would do it. Basically, quite simple, using the best codes of online tools and turning this into like an Airbnb. Quite easy, it's basically a platform where we connect millions of screens in different captive areas. You see here gas stations, toilets, we have supermarkets, gyms, elevators, so a lot of locations where people are much more captive than urban advertising, and we do it very simply through this platform, and we love to say that every screen at the end is an opportunity to be seen, and the way we shaped all this, it's because our basically focus, it's very on UX and UI, how SMEs, basically it was shaped first for SMEs, how SMEs can just get access to those screens very simply. We just try to get the very simplest tool to make it happen. And the last one, it works because a few weeks ago, we started to integrate as well stadiums in the professional football league. And we showed through this advertising from our company that everybody can basically access those screens instantly and very affordable. That's where we started to democratize the industry of JC Deco.
Okay, thank you, Dimitri. I told him it doesn't need to be a pitch, but that's part of the startup and entrepreneur DNA. He cannot help but pitching. But it's great. Thanks. And last but not least, Vincenzo.
Thank you, Rod.
He's a multi-entrepreneur. I've known this guy for about 15 years, and he's done like 5 or 6 startups that I know of in the meantime, and probably a couple that I
will let
don't
you
know.
go. Please keep going.
Go ahead.
No, yeah. So indeed, I didn't prepare a pitch about my company. Instead, I'm pitching myself. Sorry about that. But you asked me to speak about my background and why I'm here today to speak about startups. Yeah, mainly I can speak about startups because I launched a lot of startups. So these are all startups I'm not working for anymore. I started almost 20 years ago. Tasky was a project management tool. Pepper and Coffee in the middle was a web agency. Shopigram was a Vinted before Vinted. Basically, you remember that? So basically, you just took picture with your phone and
So
sell.
the guy invented Vinted, right? But he switched to another idea.
We have this in common, maybe. We are a bit too early sometimes.
Yeah.
La Patate, that is still existing. I sold the business. It's a e-commerce selling T-shirts, funny T-shirts. Javri. It's coffee online, coffee subscription.
Coffee as a service.
Coffee as a service, exactly. So basically, it's a company that is still existing and working really well. It has been sold to a big Belgian corporation last year. And basically, you can buy coffee by subscription, so CAS. Yes, thank you, Raul. So I'm currently working on these two startups. Not really starting anymore. Overloop, yeah, Overloop, my best shot to date, of course. So that's the biggest company I created and the one that I'm actually working for every day.
A bit of background on Overloop. Oh, okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So that's the part where I can pitch you a little bit what Overloop is doing. So yes, indeed, it's a sales engagement platform, a sales automation tool. Call it how you want, but basically we are automating sales work. Let's say, so we automate email marketing, email outbound, LinkedIn also, phone calls. We are automating all that. I will not be very boring with what I'm doing. You can go online, you can check what we do. It's perfectly fine. Maybe just in terms of growth and all that, we are 10 people right now, fully remote. We are self-funded and profitable from day one. That's something important for me. Making money as a company, that's the basic for me. But we did, 10 million in revenue, and we have 700 customers, a bit more, and most of them are in the US. So everything from Belgium. We have one employee in France, one in Ukraine, but at least from Europe. So yes, you can sell to American from Belgium.
Okay.
And that's it. I have a last slide if you want.
No, I skipped it.
You skipped it. So it was overloop.com if you want to see what we are doing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So as you can see, we have a wide, I'm going to go back to my first slide. We have a wide variety of stories, entrepreneurs, and my role here should be quite simple, is to try and pick up some lessons to share with all of you based on those four stories, four entrepreneurial stories. First big chapter, from idea to the first steps, to the first sales generally, because it's only when you have first sales that you know that you have really a business. Then second step, we'll talk about structure, how do you structure the business, and then we'll talk about growth. But let us first start about the idea to first steps, where I'd like to cover and hear a bit about vision to motivation, some mistakes potentially, some how do you get to the elusive product market fit? How do you iterate to go towards that? So my first question will go from vision. I mean, I tend to think that entrepreneurs are people who live in the future. It's just that it's not widely distributed there. It's not widely distributed already. And so they have to tell, in 2030, there will be billboard screens everywhere, for instance, and I'm going to try and build this. Who wants to talk about vision? How did you come about the vision? And more importantly, at what point did you decide, this is something that I want to manifest in reality? Who wants to pick up on that?
Can start, yeah.
Dimitri? He's a visionary.
Oh,
for sure.
I don't know, I'm trying to, I have some hallucinations and I'm trying to get it fixed. Basically, I think it started for me, I've been dreaming a lot all my life, and basically about glue specifically, it started 10 years ago. I was traveling in China, and I remember that I was holding a bus handle, and Europe was quite conservative in terms of advertising. And then I saw basically that advertising, a small one, 10 centimeters by 5 probably. And I was looking at that and I was like, I'm very captive and I have nothing to do rather than looking at this or nothing to do else. And from there, basically, I realized that there's plenty of way to to find different alternatives than urban advertising. And something happened in my career, basically. That's something important as well about the vision, is the way you can make that vision concrete. It's about meeting people and trusting people as well, because I probably got the vision, but I used to say that that vision without partners, talents around you, it's only left on the PowerPoint, basically. And so I got the chance to cross my co-founder, Max, who is not here today, and he could basically translate that vision into something more concrete in terms of from a product management perspective. And I think that's where we realized that no matter the crisis, if you keep being very strong and you complement yourself with other people around, smarter than you at the end, basically the vision can be real at the end. Then you will be, for sure, you will need to be rational, because when it comes to business, you need to show the figures. But I think when you start from I would say from a strong team, then you can go through all that and explore everything until you find the right balance in different things, and the right balance when it comes to figures, investors. But I think we can talk much more about that in the upcoming slides.
Okay, thanks. I'd like to move on to, given an original idea, how do you go about having the spark and deciding to actually start it? Maybe Valerie, do you want to, what led you to actually start a company instead? I'm sure you could have applied to someone else, a company. What drives an entrepreneur?
I was a consultant in the previous company. I started as a BI consultant on the other ERP we cannot pronounce here. So, I was also project manager, and then my boss at this time gave me the opportunity to build a subsidiary for him in Belgium. So I started for him the creation of the company in Belgium, and I learned a lot during this period, finally. And at the end, I would say he chose another journey and come back to France and doing something else. And my life was in Belgium, so I said, okay, I already did for my boss, and now I could start for myself. And so finally, I worked since the beginning in the data world, as I said. And so the 4 years and a half where I did freelancing gave me the opportunity to think about really my project and to find the right key to develop my company behind. And then the vision is really here to be, for Valkuren, that's the objective, to be one of the key company in Europe, to be recognized as a big data solutions development for companies with specific products in manufacturing, but we have also other projects, so that's for us the objective.
All right. Another question that I have is, how do you get about to build a founding team? And you've probably all heard that it's good to have an interdisciplinary team with like one engineer, one MBA, and one sales guy, or one financial guy, and so on. And here I want to reflect on the start of B12. I think, Caroline, you were not in the co-founders, but from what I know, the 3 co-founders are freaking PhDs in physics. So how does that relate to a different background? How do you?
Not at all, I guess. But they are very different. They are very different in characters.
One is proton, neutron,
exactly.
and electron.
We have a proton, and a neuron, and an electron.
Okay.
First, the characters are very different. They also had some experience. So Michel, for instance, went to McKinsey for a bit, and one that stayed really in the academic world, and one that worked for a bank, I think. So they had built in somewhere different backgrounds somehow. They worked quite a long time, just the 3 of them, and they work hard and for not much money, I think, because they self-funded. And then after a while, but I must admit, it's something we're still struggling with nowadays. We have, I think, 50% of the people are either physics or math at B12. And now the five managers, we all have a PhD in physics. So there's also something about having a common ground, maybe to be able to talk the same language. I think we understand each other very well and the way we work. Okay. But at some point, they also hired a HR person, which is somebody with a lot of character, and sometimes tell us, yes, but you're physicist, but not everybody thinks like you. So I think at some point there needs to be some diversity to keep everybody on the right.
It's interesting. I think I'll come back to you in terms of how do you get PhDs in physics able to talk to customers, because I'm not sure they speak the same language, and maybe there's some iteration. But in the meantime, while we were discussing about teams and how do you find partners and associates, Vincenzo, with a large number of startups under his belt, what can you say about the way to find, and I know that you've had different partners, and in some cases it was good and thriving, sometimes it was difficult. I mean, most people who co-found a company with other people face this balance of finding the right partner. What can you say about finding the right associates to start a business with?
that's a.
We didn't prepare the questions, right? So
it's a hard question.
This is raw. You will get the raw.
Yeah, that's
Vincenzo.
That's hard, to be honest. I'm not sure I have the answer yet, even if I'm doing that for almost 20 years now. My feeling, after doing that a lot, is that saying that you need complementary people is not completely true. I mean, I know this is something we like to say, you need a tech guy and a marketing guy, and then you need to make them work together, so you can have someone that build the product and another one that will sell it. That's what you can read a lot. I think if you put two person, for example, if it's a two-person association, that are the same, or that at least share a lot of things together, you have better chance of success. That's my feeling, because entrepreneurship is pretty hard, everybody that tried that, and I think a lot of people here are, you already tried, yeah? I didn't get your question earlier, but you asked who already launched a company here. Most
of the people are already in.
So most of you already launched a company, right? So it's hard. It's really hard, and it doesn't get easier. So it's hard. So it's always better, I think, to share that with someone you like, someone you share things, passion. The job is something we do a lot in a day, like 8 hours to 15, so it's better to have really things in common, to share things you like, and not to be very opposite. So my first advice, if I have an advice, would be to find people you like to share times with. And most of the time it means you are similar somehow. Yeah, so that's maybe one direction, yeah. But of course, it's hard, and things can go wrong, even if people you like.
People you had the runway, because basically it's true that from a life perspective it's real, but from a business perspective, if you wait the right moment to find the right person, like the right woman, I think you need to test and try and coach, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least I think sharing values, I completely agree. Sharing the same values, but with different skills. That's where, in my opinion, I found it very. That's where I get the most of it. So and it's true. Like, yeah, it's hard, as you say. It's hard to find talents, and if you just. And that's why I go proactively, like a hunter. I don't wait to recruit. I go proactively. I have this person in mind, and just sharing my vision with that person to hire them. And I think it's. Yeah, I think it's, well, in my case, it has worked, because you need to convince the talents. So to convince them, I think it's about sharing, the value, the personality, and then, yeah, for sure, that with that team, we can really capture what we're saying now. So I would just add that as my experience.
Sure.
You can also start a business alone. You know.
Yeah. I mean,
Again,
Oh,
if you go for VC money or things like that, they don't like that. But still, you can really start a business alone. It can work, and it
Well,
worked before for other entrepreneurs. So you don't need to find an associate to start. You can just start, and you can also find an associate later. You know.
Yeah, well-
So, yeah, there is no.
In this place, I think it's well known that Odoo was founded mostly by Fabien himself at first, and then gradually gathering a team.
And of course,
but
he
it's very
found-
different indeed.
Yeah.
It's there
He
are-
recruited complementary people to work with him. It's completely mandatory. You're right. You cannot. I don't think I could build the Overloop with only developers, for example. You need other profiles, but you don't need to be married with them.
Yeah.
You know, you can just hire them. Yeah.
While we are on that topic, maybe one piece that I would add from my experience as an investor and seeing many entrepreneurs is also make sure that the expectations are aligned in terms, some founder may be willing to cut his salary in half or more for 1 or 2 or 3 years to make his dream a reality, while his associate, because he already has 3 kids and a nice BMW and a house, mortgage to pay, may be less inclined to take salary cuts. And if those things are not discussed from the onstart, then it may lead to trouble. While we are on the human side of things, which is really important because it's the basis of building the company, especially in the first stages, one tricky question I wanted to ask you is to each of you, is if you were to wish a superpower to a founder, there are some people here who have not yet launched their startup. If you could wish them to get a superpower or to train or to develop a specific skill, what would it be?
Resilience.
What is it?
Resilience.
Resilience.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, that's
Without any doubt. That's
Okay.
the most important.
Resilience, also called grit. In some circle, there's a book, Grit. Some people know the book Grit by Angela Duckworth. I highly recommend it. Grit is certainly one of the key factors. So the persistence in front of difficulty. So the others you have to come up with other, right? Even if you agree with that.
Sorry, I took it very fast.
Yeah, he jumped on the right one.
Yeah, but for me, I would like to stop the time because we are not a big team and we don't have a lot of backup people behind. So I have just one assistant and one HR as a freelancer who help us to source the right people. But it's really now, looking for time to develop the company and organize the team in the right way. And we will speak after about governance, about process. But that's for me really, if I could have a superpower now, is to stop the time and let us time to do the right things.
And so how would that translate to an advice that you would give to entrepreneurs? Become good time managers?
Yeah.
Or
organize a team in the right way, give more responsibility to the team, find the people where you can have confidence in them, and also find other people to back up the other administrative tasks and other stuff like this, HR, marketing, and all this stuff.
Okay.
Learn to say no.
No, Caroline first.
Yeah.
Caroline first. You'll have to.
I'm gonna say
pick
you go
another one.
last. It's a
So you have
hard.
to pick another
I
one.
would say read people's minds because I think
read people's
it
mind.
can make you very good at sales if you can understand what people are thinking, what you're saying. It can make you a very good manager of your team. I think if you can read people's mind, you can do anything.
An ability to read people's mind.
So
Then you'll have to explain how PhDs in physics manage to do it well.
you would be surprised.
All right. And Dimitri
It's true
has
that
lots
I
of.
was-
I stole your ID.
I was, but
No,
indeed,
but he
I
has
was,
lots of superpowers, so I'm not worried.
I was about to say, I read a book a few weeks ago where he said the best CEOs are the CPOs, like Chief Psychology Officer.
Wow.
And I think it's about that. It's being, at the end, it's about humans, investors, managers, mid-managers, employees,
Clients.
HR, secretary, no matter. Basically, it's the way, the empathy, the way you can understand those people in the theory. And I think it's being a leader, it's about managing all those expectations. So I would say that's the most important thing. My part, I know my weakness, it's about the operations. When we talk about growing fast, you need to execute and making sure that the vision is executed with the right priorities, the right humans. I would say that, to me, once again, when you start to scale, you need to pay attention on, even if you're profitable, you can raise millions. If you don't have the right operations strategy, you can be could end very wrong at the end.
We'll talk about structure and process in the second part, but it's indeed always based on people, and certainly something that if you know people working at Odoo, and there are people working at Odoo here in the background, Odoo is, and what I can say from having seen the company grow from 20 people to 1,000 is there's a special spirit at Odoo, a very special spirit. If you have visited one of the farms, right, it's a bit of a crazy company. It's working hard, it's fun. It's a very flat management structure. So there are elements of people are indeed really important in any company's success. And in the business in general, when I moved from being an entrepreneur to being an investor, I took a 2-year training with the Kaufman Fellows, where strangely or naturally actually, the main thing was it's a people's business. So venture capital is a contact sport. You have to engage with people. You have to understand the founders' dilemmas and travails. And so people are indeed really important. Okay, we are still in our first steps now. How do we go from the initial idea through some iterations to refining the idea, to improving? How come your fifth customer tends to be more happy than the first one? You know, how do you go about finding that product market fit? Who wants to take on that?
I can, as you
You
want.
can go ahead.
Yeah, for me, finally, it's really building confidence with the customer, and then as I said, we had the chance to be part of the AI EU challenge, and so we develop a real product that's valuable for companies, for manufacturing companies. So that is the key for us. But we know that, one of the good things also is that we are very agile, very flexible, and so we can adapt our tool to other also domain. And that's really a key point, I would say. That's you have to be, as an entrepreneur, very agile, very flexible, and be able to find other business model quickly or adapt to your customer quickly.
Changing your business model. I know I can think of examples in the glue story, or maybe Vincenzo has,
Go for it.
What sometimes led you to change, or to say, oh, we were going in that direction, and we see that it's not the right one. We need to pivot or to change something significant in the way we do business.
I mean, in our business, it's the technology advancements. You know, ChatGPT comes out and it changed all our world. We have to reinvent what we're doing and the way we're doing it. We can think also of the no-code, low-code was coming. So it's always looking, because we do innovation, it's maybe not true for every business, but because we do innovation, we have to keep up to date with the newest technology advancement and always readapt to it, and a bit try to see it coming.
Okay. Dimitri, I was thinking about the way that, I mean, I'm sure you have more
Yeah. We got a chance to talk about this. Initially, the vision, it was about addressing the SMEs. So originally we say, okay, we see a lot of big brands on those screens. What about the SMEs? Why couldn't they access that screen? And so from there, the vision is still the same one, but I had to be very rational with the investors and the figures, even being profitable since day one. Reality is addressing like Odoo those millions of SMEs is just time consuming, it costs a lot, you need to raise a lot of money. That's where I had to take different choices. Like strategy, it's about choices, right? So it was, I said, okay, let's address them, but let's not put a lot of efforts. Let's keep on addressing them simply through a web shop, and let's focus now on where the biggest basket in terms of campaigns came on the platform, which is big brands, but supporting their retailers locally. And so we had to say, okay, let's go for those higher baskets without compromising and forgetting about the vision. But when it comes to those expectations from investors and from the company, we had to say, okay, let's go for those low-hanging fruits.
Right. Yeah. So that's something I tend to do with the startups I meet or I happen to coach, is try and see what's very valid, what remains valid in the long-term vision. I believe in the case of Glue, the long-term vision remains to address millions of SMEs. It's an ambitious company. Like we'll see if and when it becomes like Odoo, but it wants to address millions of companies. But that's the long-term vision. In 2030, probably millions of companies will be doing advertising on street signs. But in the meantime, it might not be the best path to pursue. And I like to carve a staircase into companies' vision to say, oh, but what's the next step? What would be the best step for the next 6 months or 12 months? That might be different. That might be, oh, we shouldn't do an inexpensive product at 99 euros for SMEs. We should build a bigger basket at 20K for bigger customers, because that's what we need right now, is to prove the platform, to build a platform.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My last question on the idea to first steps before jumping into the how to structure the business and what process to put in place. Mistakes. If there's one mistake that you are willing to recognize and to say, yeah, there, I effed up or we effed up.
In the very first phase, right? The starting phase.
Yeah.
Learnings?
Yeah, learnings. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't have to be a failure. Something, but you said, oh, and is it useful to have failure? I mean, should we see failures as failures or as signs that we need to correct course and change something?
Yeah, that's always, Oh, yeah.
Have you done any?
That's what I teach my kids. You don't do mistakes, you learn.
Okay.
It's like 101 mantra for
you have one.
But actually, it's not about doing mistakes, but you will do mistakes. As soon as you try a lot of things, you do mistakes. That's what I teach to my kids. If you break a plate because you are setting up the table, no problem, because you were setting up the table. The worst would be not to set up the table. So you will do mistakes because you will try a lot of things, and that's how you build a business. You try a lot of things. Nothing is written. There is no silver bullets. So you have to try. So you will do mistakes. Yeah. Maybe the biggest for very young entrepreneur, especially in tech, for me, is to launch too late. Is to build during months and even sometimes during years without going on the market, without selling the product. That's probably the biggest mistake you see when you look at young entrepreneurs in startups, in software. You should launch something as fast as possible, because if it's a mistake, then it's a small mistake,
Maybe I'd like to, I fully agree with that, and I'd like to quote Reid Hoffman. You probably know him, the founder of LinkedIn. Right, successfully sold to Microsoft for about 40 billion. He said, if you're not ashamed of the first version of your product, that means you've launched too late. So you should rather launch something too early and have to fix it. And again,
it's never too early, actually.
Yeah, again, probably we're in a place where Odoo knows this too well. The first version were really a punch in the face sometimes, but refine and keep refining over the years until you make it good.
Doing things that don't scale, basically.
Focusing on things that don't scale, right?
Do things that don't scale at the really beginning. It's just
Right.
about the MVP, go fast and release it.
And not only at the beginning, actually. If you are like us, a 6 years old company launching new features, keep launching new features as fast as possible. Don't work doing 6 months with 5 developers you pay very well to launch something that nobody wants or that is not correctly made for your customers. So it's really something you should keep even if you grow. And I'm pretty sure at Odoo, even as big as they are, they're still launching bugs
all the time. Yeah, indeed. Launching and making many mistakes and correcting them fast.
Of course.
And that's also the famous lean startup model, right? Where the main measurement of progress is not lines of code, it's validated learning. What have you learned that is validated, that you know for sure, oh, now I know for sure, because I screwed up, now I know that I should not go that way and should rather go this way. Any more mistakes? No, no mistakes? No, I mean, PhDs, they don't do that's the one special case.
Perfect science.
Or it's just a measurement error.
Oh, exactly. Just measurement.
By myself, once again, I would say that it was the focus. Because as a creative mind, I was really about doing a lot of things, trying to put everything in the same wagon. And basically, by focusing on something very specific about one release that will basically affect all the users, all those users will use the platform, adopt it quickly, then basically you start to have a product that you can be fully monetized. And then focusing as well, about myself, we were focusing on too many channels, acquisition channels. And at the end, we were focusing on one very specific channel, and we started to acquire there and understand and focus about our understandings as well. Otherwise, you start to trying to understand too many things rather than just focusing on one pipe, one funnel, one product.
Yeah, I like that one because it's quite typical. Generally, founders are people that tend to be. It's not an absolute, but they tend to be quite creative, and they like exploring many different tracks, which is probably a good quality. But then you need to prune some of the tracks once in a while. You need to stop some tracks, otherwise you're going to be building too many departments in a company of 3 people, basically. So the ability to stop some tracks and to put more focus into others is certainly a strength. Valérie?
Yes,
You've
for
done
me,
some mistakes?
yeah, of course. But for me, it's mainly hire sales too early. I would say as a founder of a company, you are the best sales for your company at the beginning, and that's take me times to understand this and build my own brand. That's also sales my company. So that's really important at the beginning, I think, on the stuff I do. That's to not hire sales too early.
I really agree with this one. From having seen dozens of startups, it's very tempting. Of course, you've started to build something, you manage to do a few sales, and then as a founder, usually you're not too excited by the selling process. So you hire someone to handle the sales, but generally the product is not finished yet, still needs that feedback from the market, which you as a founder can provide and adjust and be agile. And a pure sales guy is really good at taking a product sheet and selling it to the public. And that takes generally years before the company is mature enough to do that. All right, let's move on to second chapter, structure. Now, you've made your first sales. That shows some market traction. Sales, I mean, you don't need hundreds of sales necessarily, but at least at some point you figure, oh, I do have a business now. I've managed to sell it once and twice and 3 times. So it's not just because the first customer I knew him and so on. How do you go about turning this into a real business? How how do you realize I'm not just a founder with an idea and some prototype anymore, but now this is getting serious, I need to put some structure in the company, and where do you start in terms of process, dashboard, fundraising, governance, where does all that fit? Who wants to
First,
take
maybe what we can say that you are a real company when you make money. You know,
Yeah.
but I think it's always good to
No.
remind this to everybody. So if you gave your product for free, or you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
or if you are still losing a bit of money at the beginning, then you should probably go for making money, because everything starts from there. You know, so if we really look at the very beginning, yeah, sell what you build, and then we can speak about how to scale that. But a lot of founders don't even sell, so I think you have to keep that in mind. You know, making money for a company, it's really important. Even if there are some VCs, some funding possibilities, it doesn't mean you should never focus on making money. And actually, I think movies like Social Network and things like that is pretty bad for the ecosystem, because people think that even if you don't make money, you can have a success like Facebook. Actually, Facebook was making money at the very beginning. You know, it's always good to remind people about that. Even if they were doing so little money that it was not really important for the funding, they were making money. They had an idea on how to monetize what they already had. So not doing money for a company is not a company; is a non-profit. You know. So I would start from there.
It's
Yeah.
a hobby.
bit.
So indeed, okay.
Just
okay.
a reminder. Then I can
Probably
leave it
we
to
would
my-
agree with that.
Yeah.
You needs to make some money, but how do you? Let's assume indeed it does make some money. How do you start putting process around that? How do you go into putting sales figure?
You do not
At one point-
hire sales. That's completely true. You know, it's a good transition. Actually, salespeople will never grow your company. Will never grow the figures. They will sell because there are a lot of leads coming, and you are, as a founder or as a team already, you cannot sell anymore because there are too much leads coming. So you hire someone to take care of these leads and to close them. But you don't hire sales to find business. You know,
Right.
I'm not sure I'm clear.
But one point I'd like to get back on, and maybe have the others' opinion. You said founders generally or tend not to sell, which is true to some extent. Founders are typically people who are not excited by selling; they are excited by building companies. But on the other hand, we could also argue almost the opposite. That means
I didn't say
see-
that.
Sorry.
I didn't say founders shouldn't sell. I didn't
Okay.
say that. No, I didn't say that. I said don't hire salespeople.
No, that we agreed. But I tend to see but let's say it's not their main DNA of a founder. It's more about creating, refining a product,
It depends as well.
talking to customers. But on the other hand, we see many founders who remain sometimes the best salesperson of the company. I think Fabien is still one of the best salespeople for Odoo, and probably you can relate to that. Yep.
Sure. I consider myself as a sales guy. So since the beginning, once again, I'm sharing my experience. We were profitable since day one because we were already selling our services. And then we said, okay, we don't want to sell our time, and so how can we make it out of those services and listening to the customers a product now and scale it? So from servicing to product, I don't know how you say that in English, but from selling services to selling a product, there's once again a choice we had to make that choice because we were selling our creativity to agencies, and then we say, okay, let's build a product so that they can use it and create their own campaigns instead of. So I used to say that we moved from handcraft campaigns to prêt-à-porter, and that's where we started to turn something, a classic sell into a powerful tech platform.
Right. Yeah. No, that's good. And I see many companies starting mostly as a service business, but at some point wanting to go into a product business in order not to have to do the sales process all all over again all the time. Be aware that it's not that easy to move from
It's
a
a
service
big
company
challenge.
It's
to
really
a
hard.
product
Yeah.
company, and some people and some companies die in the process, or it's really a transfer in ambulance.
Yeah.
So I
Maybe
can
B12 can
Yeah,
justify
so
that.
we are a service company, and we've decided to stay a service company, which also means that to grow, what they've done is they've taken two new partners on, because we're doing the sales. We have such specific services that it's very difficult to send the sales to sell what we do. So we really, it's our main job, is to find leads and go and get them, and we have a support team to write the offers and to do communication, but we really the ones who go and talk to the clients, because it's a complex business, and we don't we've tried in the past, and it was maybe a mistake to ask somebody else to do it, and it's very hard to find people who can actually do it. What we've decided to do, because we actually now have developed a product internally, it's to launch a spin-off. So we've hired a CEO to launch that product, so we can stay as a service company and have a product which is our own, but we decided to do it as a spin-off to not have to play on the two, because I don't think a service company and a product company, they have different profiles, and I don't think we can deal with both at the same time.
Okay, no good.
And if I may add something with about Vincenzo, I agree with on something, being obsessed. You know that, like I used to say, being obsessed by EBITDA. So it's true that being obsessed by, I don't know how familiar you are with the financials, but at the end it's about profit margin. Being obsessed by how much value I can get out of my platform or my service. If you're really unique, you can really get the right margin on that.
Okay, I'd like to ask, I tried to ask this question already a couple of times, but I don't feel it's been fully answered yet. How do you go about putting some process and some tools? I mean, we know that we're not here to talk specifically about Odoo, so you can say that you do it in Excel in the first days of the company,
Yeah.
which is fine and normal for when you are a two-people company. Or how do you go about using tools? I know Vincenzo he's building SaaS, a SaaS business, but he's also an avid buyer of other tools from other
SaaS,
vendors.
yeah.
But how do you gradually put in
Yeah.
place tools and process to help structure the business?
Yeah, for us, we use for the moment, some domain of Odoo, but it's more on CRM and stuff like this. But for the day-to-day, we use free tools as Trello, as Slack, and which is very easy for us. And we need that. The next step would be to organize a little bit more and structure more. But as we are less than 10 people for the moment, it's going step by step, and so we know that it will be the next step to organize a little bit more the company. And on the finance side, that's mainly in the hand of my assistant and me and my account. So for the moment, that's only the step.
Vincenzo, I know you cannot see a SaaS tool that you like without buying it. So what do you use? What do you find useful?
Yeah, we use a lot of things.
Yeah.
On the financial part, I use a Google spreadsheet, to be honest, since day one. And actually, this is something I always do when I start a new project, venture, business. I start by doing a spreadsheet with sales and expenses, profit and P&L, and you just put month by month what you spend and what you make, and then you have, a green cell or a red cell at the end, and then you put everything there. So I use at Overloop a spreadsheet that is quite big, with everything, HR, the cars, offices. As we don't have offices anymore, but we pay for co-working. Everything is in this file. So that's my. That's my dashboard, I know I use it for the past, I know what are the numbers for the past, and I use it also for the future to do some budgeting. So I add new lines, like 2 new developers, I put the price, I just extend the cells and see what happened. You know, it's very basic, but
Okay.
it's working. And then indeed, I'm not using Odoo, and I don't want to say anything bad about Odoo, but I don't like something so integrated with everything in it. I
Really
like to
choosy.
pick up, every tool I use. And
You like to do the patchwork yourself.
yeah, and actually, it's my thing, it's the
Okay.
way not my thing, but our thing, the company like to work with very specific tool for every specific task. And we change tool and we try tools and we see what works the best. But indeed, I think we spent like 10,000 euro per month on other tools, other stuff.
10,000 euro per month.
Yeah,
Another
Slack. Slack is
All right.
costy, But yeah, if you
And have
add
it- and have-
everything, it gets costy. But
And
we have
and
the best tool for everything.
and have it SaaS user. Well, we have less than 20 minutes left, and if you want to take a few questions from the audience later, I think it's time we switch to the third part, which is growth. You have a business, you have an idea, you turn it into a business, you have your first sales, you've organized your processes and your first sales. You gradually come to the point where you understand how and when to hire salespeople, which we've understood is something that should be done carefully. How do you go about growth? Can we share some recipes of growth? And one of the most obvious questions maybe is, especially because we have a mixed panel with people who have had outside funding and people who have not had outside funding, do you strive to be self-sufficient and not raise external funding? I know it's adamantly defended by B12. We'll see how it goes with your spin-off company. Or when do you think it can help to raise external funding? And there probably Dimitri has some experience to share with that. Or I mean, you
I don't know if you could.
I think it depends on your business, right? Because the spin-off, we're searching for investors because we need to invest some money to have the first MVP. Was a service,
Yeah, as a service company, I think you've grown 15% per year on year, which is great. I know many companies who would be more than happy to grow 15% per year. And as a service, it's quite amazing, honestly, right? If as a product company, it's more binary. You can either crash and burn if your product doesn't meet demand, or it can grow faster. Odoo is known for having grown at a 70% rate year over year for 15 years, and then you get something as big as this. Dimitri, maybe you want to share why you got into, you decided to do some funding, although you are someone who looks at EBITDA, who loves to make things profitable, so you're not the type of entrepreneur that runs, let's raise millions and spend them and then we'll see. To the contrary, you're really cash conscious.
We were profitable, so we were not looking for funding because we were profitable, hiring 2-3 FT every year. The reason, because when you decide to go for investors, you decide to be diluted, so you will lose a bit of your company, and so it took us a year with my co-founder to say, shall we open the shares and have shareholders, board of directors? So it's a lot of human overhead, and we might lose our agility. And but at the end, it was the best thing we made, because our ambition is to be a leader worldwide. So the only way to do it, you can finance it, self-fund it, for sure. But it means that you need to generate a lot of cash to hire 20, 25 people per year or even more. So we decided basically to fund like the companies a year ago now. We're going for another funding probably by the end of 2024 because basically we need to replicate now and go really fast on the market, lock the market. And so the only way to do it is to be physically, for example, in the UK and Paris, and we open an office in Paris with people from the industry. So I think if you consider it as an investment, to hire and lever on strategic investors, because that was something interesting as well for us. We decided to go. We took the time to raise the money, because we're not running out of cash. So we decided to really choose which kind of investors we wanted at this stage. It was much more than money. It was levers, direct connection to the media industry, and that helps a lot to grow directly your revenues.
Okay. Okay. Other growth, other advice on growth, how to grow or how
On
to
the
manage
growth.
growth. Yeah.
Growth.
You have recipes.
Still figuring out, you know.
Yeah. You have growth hacking recipes to share with all your tools, with your 10K of SaaS tools per month.
It's not a growth hack, that's just a spending hack, you know. No, maybe use Overloop and try it outbound, you know. That's my marketing part of the show. But no, sorry. There is no silver bullet. Maybe that's the only thing, you know. Try, and you will find things that works for you. It might not work for me. Just maybe to jump on the funding, and we are self-funded. We never took money. We took and we reimbursed it actually, because it was not for us. You know, we discovered that. I think it's healthy just to work on what you are making. It pushes you to make more money, to find good way to be more profitable, so you can grow more, you can hire more, you can spend more on other SaaS, for example. So it's a good thing, you know. But indeed, then it will depend on your ambition. I think it really depends on what you want to do, what you want to, what you want to build. You want to be market leader, world leader. I don't want to be the world leader. I want a great company. No, really, I want a great company where I like to work with great people. I like to work. I want to make money. You know, to be honest, we didn't speak about motivation for being an entrepreneur. I think, but that's one of the motivation. You know, making money. It's a good way to become rich. Way more easy to become rich by being an entrepreneur than winning on the lottery, for example. Nobody wants to be market leader, world leader. You can also just want to build a great company, big company. You can build a great big company without VC funding.
But at the same time, you are working on a global market, right? Your competitors are US based.
And it's hard. Yeah.
And so you picked a sport where your competitors are. There are some that are better
I didn't
funded.
choose that word actually. You know, it was. I was lucky. You know, I started to work on the product at some point, and then I discovered that there were a huge market behind this product. You know, I didn't choose to go for sales engagement platform and to compete with HubSpot, with Salesforce, with these big companies. But then, you know, if you want to destroy them and take their place, you need funding. That's for sure. You know, you need to be very fast. You need to go very hard. But that's a question of ambition. You know, you need to know what you want. Going with VC funding is another story. It's another game. You know, it's really playing another game. And there is no, you know, you should do that or you should do that. You should do what you want.
There are all sorts of reasons to choose funding, and there are many good reasons also not to raise funding. Obviously, I'm now in the business of funding companies, so I'm always interested in hearing pitches. But there are cases where my best advice would be, no, you shouldn't be raising money. And again, if we want to pick up a little bit of example from the Odoo story, you know that Odoo did raise money at some point, right? That's when I got on board in 2010. But until then, it was a wholly owned company by Fabien. And he said, "Okay, we want to grow faster, further. Now is the right time to open the capital and raise." We raised 3 million. That changed what we could do.
That's also very important. A company is not a 3 years story.
No.
You know, I love to remind this to a lot of people around me, but Odoo is 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years. Think about it. It's huge. So it's not a one-day success. So and in 20 years you can still change your mind. I don't know. Maybe Overloop in 3 years, 4 years we will raise money. But you know.
The point I wanted to make was that Odoo was quite frugal. well, it's easier to say afterwards, but we raised another round of close to $10 million in 2014, and that was it. Since then, we have not raised any money, and we. I mean, I cannot speak for Odoo anymore, but we won't be raising money.
That's because
soon.
Fabien focused on making money, not
Indeed,
raising
indeed.
money.
Now Odoo
that's a big difference.
It's profitable thanks to a partner network and so on.
They were making money before raising money.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Well, it depends on what industry you are in. Recently, I also invested in Aerospace Lab. That some people from Belgium may know. They build satellites. The company has been raising, the last round we had a Series B of 45 million.
And they are
after
going in space.
A Series A, yeah.
That costs
And
money.
only now are we launching the first...
Self-funded SpaceX. You know, of course not.
Bootstrap.
Bootstrap NASA.
Well,
you don't do that, of
if
course.
you are Elon Musk, maybe you can do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, good. Okay, so I will need some help from the team if we want to pick up some questions in the 5 to 10 minutes that we have. How do we go about?
3
minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we pick up some questions from the crowd? And how do we do it? Is there a microphone or is there?
There is someone.
Scream.
You want to shout it, or do we have a microphone for?
It's coming, it's coming.
It's coming, it's coming. There is no microphone, actually.
There's a guy running.
The microphone guy.
I'd like to know when it's better to start hiring salespeople.
Oh, to get to the point where, when is the best time to hiring salespeople? Is that it? Okay. Yeah, we said not too early, obviously.
Yeah.
We said the founder tends to, I think you seem to agree that founders tend to remain the best salespeople for quite a while. But then when
it's not possible anymore.
Yeah.
You know, when you don't have time to sell and you have too much lead and too much business coming, then you can hire someone, you can train someone. It's also the reason why it's very good to do it yourself a long time, you know. If you delegate something too fast, you don't really know how to do it, so you will not be able to train someone and you will not be able to know if he's doing a good job, you know, or not. So yeah, when it's not possible to do it anymore.
Maybe when you can split tasks as well. I know that Dimitri recognized that he's an excellent door opener. The first meeting should always be with Dimitri because he knows his baby, he can sell it, but then you want to...
I think we are in the process of recruiting, of building what we call SDR, so Sales Development Representative. So it's basically when you're ready to really replicate the pitch, the product, and there is no approximative information. I would say when everything can stand on a one-pager, you can, I think, start to... we have our director of sales in there, I see. So when you're ready to replicate that in different markets and train them, and that you're sure that it's completely mastered, I think that's the right moment. Otherwise, it's true that we did that in the past as another learning, and we lose a lot of time because we were not ready to train people, and so they were not really armed with the right weapons to represent the company.
Okay, good. Another question? Over there?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, we're running out of time, so maybe if we can take one more question over there, which will be carried like in the ancient times on horseback.
Where's the pigeon?
Le messager.
How do you identify a problem even before you create your startup? How do you start finding the potential startup that you get? So it's before you create it.
Okay, now we're back in time before the actual creation. So it's true there were some people who were still thinking about jumping into entrepreneurship. How do you
Identify potential
distill that?
problems.
How do you take the time to make the right idea appear?
Yeah, just for me, I started as a BI consultant. I see in a lot of companies that we had a lot of data, and more and more with the social network also. And what I think is that also what we do with this data, nothing. And maybe we can use this data to improve the process, to improve the to get better decisions, and to make prediction. And that's why I'm coming for the different machine learning and the optimization process and stuff like this.
Yeah, maybe I would rephrase or refine the question as, how do you lower your own risk? You know, how do you know it's the right idea? And how do you lower your own risk as an entrepreneur before actually launching?
By falling in love, I think, with the problem, because a lot of people fall in love with their solution, but never about the user's problem. And I think from there you can start to really lower the risk of building a vision, and there's no market. And once again, it's another learning. You have that vision, but the market is just asking for this. I need to focus on the market, on the users. Don't hunt too much. Maybe farming more, and from there you start de-risking a lot.
I like that, and I think it's going to be our final word. Fall in love with the problem, not with your solution, right? So learn from your customers, ask them what they want, do some testing, some small-scale testing, and then build it from there and grow and thrive. And I hope that you picked up some interesting lessons from our panelists, and I hope you can join me in thanking them.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.